Okay, welcome once again, traders. Good day. Welcome to today's episode of my weekly Forex Forecast. I do this every Saturday to share with you guys my forecast and my analysis for the Forex pairs I usually trade in the coming week. So we are still focusing on the BTC USD and the Euro USD for now. So I'll be sharing with you guys, my experience, my opinion, and how I intend to trade those pairs in the coming days. So without wasting our time, let's just go right into the chart. We're starting with the BTC USD. Chart. So as you all know, my trading strategy is less complicated. Like I told us, I do my analysis on the 4-hour time frame, and my execution is being done on the 4-hour time frame. But if things are not too clear on the 4-hour time frame, I move to the daily time frame. From there, I can see things clearly. If it's also not clear on the daily, I can still go on the weekly time frame. But usually, in most cases, do my analysis on the 4-hour time frame, my execution on the 4-hour time frame. If things are not clear, the daily time frame will just to make it clearer for me. So without wasting our time, like I told us last week, for the BTC USD, I'm still bearish for the BTC USD. And all we'll be looking for the BTC USD is to sell the BTC USD. Sell is all what we'll be looking for. So I told us that I can see that the BTC USD have cleared some key areas that has been preventing the market from going down. We can see this support area here. This area here is visible, acting as a resistance here. Market went up, came back, retest, and then broke above. This was a key support area. Even our 200 EMA was also around that area at that time. We can see the market have broken below the 200 EMA. Even also, there's another key support area at this point. These are strongholds of the sellers, which price have successfully broken below. You can see this area was acting as a strong, it's not even only a support. Okay, this area can even stand as a demand area. From here the buyers came in and launched this market all to this point. You can see, for last week the market, came to that area. I told us that we did this analysis when this market was, trading, a bit below this area. During last week, we saw the market, push back to the upside, but the buyers came to this support area that has turned to resistance area. They couldn't break below, and the sellers came back in and, pushed price all the way to the downside, and even, broke the structure and closed below this support area that is here. So with all this now, we can see that the BTC USD is heading to the downside. Key support areas broken. We can see a trend change. Let us remove this resistance area, because we have a resistance here now. There's a key resistance here now. We can see that this is the latest resistance area for the BTC USD, meaning this is the latest resistance area. Even though we still have our supply area here, these are line of departure. From this point, the market came down and broke this support area. This is a stronghold for the buyers. This support area is a stronghold for the buyers, and market came to that stronghold. The sellers fought. The sellers came in, the buyers fought. They tried to push the market up. The sellers came back and broke below this their line. The buyers came back in. They came back in with another force, pushed the market to the upside. But the sellers held on to this resistance area and pushed the price down. So trading is just like a battlefield. When you find yourself in the battlefield now, you can see that if in a battle now, there are two forces fighting. Once one of them have captured an area, it will push the enemy further into their territory. Do you understand? When there's a battle, there's one force here and the other force here. They have their line, their strongholds. Once these force have are able to push the other force, are able to take over the stronghold of the other force, they will push the other force further into their territory. That is what happens in trading. You can see that this is where the sellers launch their campaign. They launch their campaign from here. The buyers have a stronghold here. They came to this place. The buyers came in with their forces, tried to fight off the sellers, but the sellers came in and pushed them back into their territory. But the buyers regrouped at this point and pushed back the sellers back. But once the sellers have taken over this location, they've now formed a stronghold. Once they've taken over that location, they formed the stronghold. You can see this area was acting as a stronghold for the buyers initially. The sellers broke it. It's now a stronghold for the sellers. When the price got here, the sellers fought the buyers. They got to this point that the sellers have now used for a stronghold. The sellers pushed back the buyers. The buyers came here, they regrouped at this point and pushed back up. But at this point, the sellers have already taken over this location. They pushed back the sellers, the buyers, back down, even broken below the stronghold of the buyers and forcing the buyers further into their territory. So now the sellers are reclaiming territory. The sellers are claiming territory. So, with this, we can see that the BTC USD is in a downtrend. Price is at a key area. You can see this location. Support here went up, came back down, acted as a resistance, support. The sellers are broken below it. Let's move over to the daily time frame. We can see on the daily time frame also, daily time frame, we can see, this supply area here, there's our line of departure. It's also a key area that is visible on the daily time frame. We can see acted as a support here. That's what the sellers are using as a resistance down. And we can see our 200 EMA is pointing to the downside. Guys, like I told us, apart from the primary lower lows and lower high that we use to define structure, this is trading 101. For uptrend, we have the higher highs and the higher low. For the downtrend, we have the lower lows and the lower high. You can see that the price have changed its character here. It was moving from this point to the upside, creating higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. It got here. They failed to, create another high. They came down here, and the buyers are unable to push forward, and the sellers came down. They broke this support area that has now turned to a resistance that the sellers are using to push this price to the downside. So you can see even the trend line traders, their trend line have been broken. This is the daily time frame. Trend line traders, price was originally trending to the upside. That has broken. 200 EMA, price is now trading below the 200 EMA. Key support area for the buyers, price have broken below it. Used it as a resistance. So we expect the price to continue down. So, and there's also something I'm looking at. If you take the accumulation of this from this, you can see that we have a long movement for the BTC USD. So that's why if anybody that is holding the BTC USD, if you are not an investor, this is the time for you to sell off your BTC, your coin, your BTC. Then maybe later, when the price have bottomed and want to start going up, you can start buying back. But if you are a big investor, you don't need to sell. You hold your coin. As it's getting low, the investors will still be adding even to their position. But if you're a trader, at this point, there's no point holding the BTC USD. If you are buying the BTC USD, there's no point as a trader for you to buy the BTC USD. You have to wait for it to finish this downtrend, change its character, and when you want to start going up, you can start buying your coin. Because when the BTC start going up, even myself, I will start loading up the BTC USD. For now, the BTC USD is still dropping. So So we can see the daily time frame, price have changed its character, trading below the 200 EMA, have closed below a key support area on the daily time frame. The trend line traders are their trend line has been broken. Price is heading to the downside. So let's go back to the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, we can also see price is trading below the 200 EMA. Daily time frame 200 EMA, 4-hour time frame 200 EMA. Price is trending, to the downside. We can see this is the first impulse leg. This is the impulse leg from this point to this point. Price came down. Fibonacci to this point, from there price is coming down. So I'm expecting that the price will still use this movement I did here to still come back here and give us this accumulation. So for now, what we'll be looking for the BTC USD is to sell the BTC USD. So in the coming days now, how do we sell the BTC USD? In the coming days, how do we sell the BTC USD? So, I can tell you this is our line of departure. This is the supply area that brought this price down. Even though we have another supply area at this point, there's another supply here. But this is the father of them all. This is the father of them all. There's another supply here. So what I'll be looking for the BTC USD, if I have to sell the BTC USD, you guys know how I trade for now. Once I've identified the direction of the market, if the market is once I've confirmed that the market is bearish, I'll wait for price to pull back to a resistance area. And this resistance area must be an area that is visible to the daily time frame traders. Must be an area that price have, tested in the past. Maybe also support an area that price have used as support before, that will be coming back to be used as resistance. So when price comes to this area, I want my sellers to come in, so I join them. Then this area also, I want to use my Fibonacci and confirm that it's a 5061.8 Fibonacci area. Because guys, the Fibonacci area is very powerful. It's a 50% discount. Manipulation maybe to the 61.8. Think about it. If there's any product you need and you heard that that product, there's a 50% discount on that product, you want to get that product. Even if you don't have money, you want to look for money to get that product. That is how the Fibonacci area is very powerful. It's a psychological area. Once people need a product and they realize there's a 50% discount on that product, they want to get that product by all means. That is why the Fibonacci 5061.8 area is very, very important. As it is being used for buying, that's the way it's also being used for selling. So once the market is dropping, I want to take the Fibonacci, to wait for the market to pull back to a premium level at a 5061.8. From there, I wait for the sellers to come in and I join them. So having said that, I'll be looking at this area for the BTC USD in the coming days. I'm looking at this area here, and I'm saying that this area is an interesting one. I can see that if I go to my line chart, you can see there's a key level here, the level here, and there's even a gap here. Let's go to the daily time frame. Okay, cool. You can see that this area is visible to the daily time frame traders. You can see. Let me stretch it to the past. Acted as a support here, came back down, broke below, traded below, came back, acted as a resistance here, broke a little bit below it. The buyers came back and pushed back up. The sellers came back, used that level as a support area, took the price up, came back down. The buyers tried to use it as a support to buy this market. They couldn't. They got here. The sellers came back down. They pushed the price down. The buyers came back and pushed the price up, but they couldn't go above this level. The sellers came back and broke below this area. You can see that there's a strong battle at this area. Finally, we have a daily candle closing below this area. We have a daily candle now. Last week we were trading this, we were doing this analysis. I told you guys that, then this candle was still forming and it was bearish. I told you that this candle have not finished forming. If it closed below this area as a bearish candle, then we can know that, okay, we'll see the move down. But eventually the buyers came in and the buyers came in, aggressively, but they got to this resistance area and the sellers pushed them back. So we can see with all what has been happening here, that the sellers, are in charge, are now actively in control of this market. How far would they go down? We don't know. But for now, we can see that the sellers have started their campaign. They started this is the line of departure where they started their campaign, their march from. They've been able to break below this support area. The buyers tried to break above it, they could not, and the sellers held on to this area. They broke the area. They are now taking, this over this territory, pushing, the buyers further down. So with this now, we can see that the sellers are in charge. The sellers are in charge. I'm looking at this area, that this area, is a good area, acting as a support here, acted as a resistance here, acted as a resistance here, acted as a support here. I'll be waiting to see if the buyers can push back to this area. From there, I'll wait for the sellers to come in and I'll join them. Let's go over to the 4 hour time frame. So on the 4 hour time frame, this is that level. We can see that this area is visible to the daily time frame traders. So it is from this area. If we even go to our live chart, you can see from this area now, I will be waiting for the for the price to push back. I'll be waiting for the buyers to push this market into this area. This is the stronghold. This is the stronghold of the sellers. I'll wait for the buyers to come in to this stronghold. From there, I'll wait for my sellers to come in and I'll join them and take the price down. Now let's check this area if it's in line with our Fibonacci 5061.8. This is the line. This is the latest line of departure. If we take our Fibonacci from this line to this line, we can see that this our 50 is our 61.8 area. 5061.8 area lined up to this point. Cool. Then, there's another area here that I'm skeptical about. You can see at this point, there's a line of departure from here also. There's a line of departure from here. So if I take this line of departure from here, I'll be having my 61.8 here. So with that, I want to stretch my zone. If I take from here to here, my 50, my 61.8 is here. Then if I use this line of departure, my 61.8 is here. So I'll be taking all these zones. I'll be using all these zones. I want to use all these zones. You can see it's a good area. Let me just stretch it down here. So this is a good area. So in the coming days, I'll be waiting for the BTC USD to come into this zone. From this zone, I'll be waiting for my sellers to come in, so I will join them. From this zone, you can see it's a good support area from where the market pushed back. I'm expecting the market to use that area as I'll be expecting the sellers to use that area as a resistance area. From there, they'll continue to take the price back down. So guys, this is the idea about the pullback. Now for a bullish market, when the market is buying, why the pullback is important is, if, like I've explained the idea behind my strategy, behind the pullback strategy, and the idea is very simple. Once I've identified a product that is in demand, I know people need a product. What I want to know also is how much are they willing to pay. If people are willing to pay, let's say $100 for a product, I cannot buy that product for $100, because if I buy it for $100, if I sell to them for $100, I will not make profit. So what I'll be waiting is for a pullback. I'll be waiting for how I can get that product at a cheaper price. Let's say $80 or $70. So if I can get where I can buy that product for $80 or $70, I can sell back to those people who need the product for $100, and the difference is my profit. The same way, if the market is, going down. Now, if the market is going down, you can see yourself as a store owner. If you're a store owner now, and there are some products in your shop that you've not sold for some time, what you do, people are not coming to buy this product, and this product is lying down in your store for long. You give people discounts. You give them discount, and when you see that people have started buying that product more, you can remove the discount. So now nobody is buying the Bitcoin. As nobody is buying the Bitcoin, the price will continue to go down. Do you understand? So for me to sell, I cannot sell here. I want the price to rise. Then when the price rise, then I can sell. Do you understand? So that is just the idea behind my trading. So very simple for the Bitcoin. I will be waiting for the price to rise into this area. From there, I'll wait for the sellers to come in and I'll join them. And I can see that the market is building a range here. The market is building a range here. Even though I know that the key area that the market is waiting for is inside this zone. I'm even suspecting that this gap that is here is actually where the market will use. This gap here, that's where the market will use from there to drop. It will come, fill in that gap, fill in this gap that is there, and from there begins to drop. And you can see what the market is doing. It's trying to build a range here. The next thing we are going to see is the accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. If you don't know how the accumulation, manipulation, distribution system work, you can check the YouTube or you read about it. We'll see a movement in this place. At this point, the market will be engineering, liquidity, building in liquidity to create a false resistance, create a false support. After building, it will go up, take all of them out, because all the people that will be selling inside this range now, their stop losses will be above here. To go up, take them out, then after taking them out, it will start dropping. So for the BTC-USD, you have to be patient. Do not trade the BTC-USD in this range, and that is the problem traders are having. They will come here now and start forcing trades. Some of them will have to go to the 1 minute time frame and start looking for things here. You don't have to. Before you trade the BTC-USD, wait for it to break out of this range. When it breaks out, wait for it to come to this support that will turn to resistance area. Then when the sellers come in, you'll join them. So in the coming days, I'll be waiting to sell the BTC-USD. If price rise to this my zone, break out on this range, rise to this zone, then from there, I'll wait for the sellers to come in and I'll join them. And where do I think the BTC-USD is going to? I'm still of the opinion that at the minimum, the BTC-USD should come back to this support area. At the minimum, the BTC-USD should come back to this support area. There are some trend lines that are still holding this market, even though I don't trade the trend line, but I apply them to see what the trend line traders are thinking. I can see that we'll take this trend line, touch, fake out, went back up, broke below. So when this market pull back to come to retest this resistance, this support trend line that will turn to resistance trend line, to come to retest it from there, it will come back down. So this is the 100% retracement. If this resistance area holds for the Bitcoin, the price is supposed to come back down to this area. But if you are finding it difficult to hold the Bitcoin to this point, you can do your maybe 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, or there's also a key. You can use the Fibonacci 5061.8. I think this will be a good area for you to exit. Maybe you can exit at this 50, or you can exit at this 61.8. Okay, so long story short, for the Bitcoin, we're waiting for a pullback into this zone. I want to add this zone to this even though I think this gap, this is where the market, guys, see, just let's leave that other supply area. Let's just take this supply area, because let's just take this supply area. Why? Because if this market, Fibonacci 5061.8, Fibonacci 5061.8, Fibonacci 5061.8, good, area, acted as a support here, resistance here, acted as support, come back to after support. On the daily time frame, that level is also valid, it's also visible to the big boys, acted as a support here, resistance here, support here, support, resistance, support, come back to us as resistance and come back down. 200 EMA price is trading below it, our 14 EMA price is also trading below it. So remove. So for the Bitcoin, wait for price to rise to this resistance area at 75,230. Stop loss can be above here at 75,894. Then the TP can come down here at 69 and 69,429. So let's move to the Euro USD. So for the Euro USD, we are still waiting for our trade plan. Our trade plan have not been activated. I told us last week that I think that the Euro USD is still trading in this range. Move from this supply area down to this demand area, build up, price move to the upside, waiting for price to pull back down to our area of value. So I told us that I'm looking at this area here as an area that I think the buyers will come in to launch their campaign. I think the buyers will come in to launch their campaign. We have a line of departure here, a demand area. We have a line of departure here, supply area. There's also a supply area at this point, which will push this market down. So I told us last week that I think that the price have now actually got into this area. If you look at the week, you can see there's this space down here. I told us that once the market have identified the area it wants to buy from, it comes to a level before that area and engineer a fake support. After it has engineered that fake support, traders will start buying the market from there. Later it will come down, take them out and start to go back up. So the same way the market is engineering a fake support, the same way it has been engineering the fake resistance. I can see the market have come up. All these people selling this market here, they were selling from here, selling from here, selling from here, selling from here. The market have stopped all of them out. So after it has stopped out the sellers, it will come out, stop out the buyers from there to go. That is why in this market you need a lot of patience. You must be able to control your emotions, sit on your hands and wait. You don't just jump into any trade you see. If not, you end up being frustrated at this market. This take me a lot of years to learn this, to be able to still sit still on my hand. You show up every day, you wait for your setup. If it's not there, you shut down. It's just like a shop owner who goes to the shop every day. It does the same thing. Same time he opens the shop, customer comes, he sells to them, customer does not come, he shut down and go home. The same way you come to the chat every day, you come to the market, you open the market, you get your setup, you execute, there's no trade, you shut down for the day. Even if you go for weeks without trade, it's better, because your first job as a trader is to preserve your capital. Once you can preserve your capital, the days of your setup will come, you execute. So I told us last week that there's a strong area here I'm expecting the market to come to, which we identified as this area, our 61.8 Fibonacci area at this point. You can see. Also, there's still a supply area at this point, a line of departure here. From here, this market, the path came down here. The sellers are not done yet. Since the market failed to come down full body candle at this place and started going up, it means it's still going to come back to this support area. So in the coming days, I'll be looking to sell the Bitcoin, because it failed to come down here and start going up. I'll be looking to sell the Bitcoin from this point, then buy from this point. So for the Euro USD, I'll be looking for two things in the coming days. You can see I told us that this area is a good this area is a good area. You can see acted as a support here, price will be coming down to act as resistance. From the line of departure to this swing high to this swing low, a good Fibonacci 5061.8 area. There's a lot of confluence there. Fibonacci 5061.8 is there. 200 EMA is there. Support and resistance traders are there. So in the coming days, I'll be waiting for the sellers to come in. From this point, I'm waiting for the sellers to come in. These are not the sellers. I want to still see something like this. They come down, the buyers push them up, and they get weak, and the sellers come back down. I'll take the market down to this point. When the sellers come back in, I see a push down by the sellers, the buyers take them back up, and the sellers, they get here and the sellers come in. I will enter from here and take the price down from here. Then from this point, I expect the buyers to come back in, because this is a strong growth for the buyers. From this point, buyers will come back in. Then from here, I'll take the Euro USD back to the upside. So for the Euro USD, we'll be looking at two things for the Euro USD: to sell from this resistance area and to buy from this support area. Guys, there's something else I want to show you guys about the Euro USD. Is this trend line that is holding from this point to this point. Guys, like I told us, I don't use the trend line. But I understand the logic behind the trend line. So because this is a battle, and once you're in the battle as a general, you are commanding troops. Your capital are your soldiers. Your job as a trader is like the job of a general in a battlefield. You must be able to analyze the battlefield. So why analyzing the battle? If you know the strategies of your enemy, it gives you an advantage. So you see some of all these concepts I'm bringing in. Even I know about the head and shoulder, even the ICT, the SMC, how they trade, I know. The chart pattern traders, I know how they think. The EMA traders, I know how they think. The trend line traders, I know how they think. These are strategies of the enemy that I as a general, I know their strategy. So I guide myself against the strategy they may use against me. So there's a trend line. You can see this trend line has been acting as a resistance. The market from here came back down, went here, came back down, went here, came back down. The line has been acting. So I won't be surprised if this market come to touch this trend line again, and from there to do more liquidation, and from here the sellers will come back, take this price down. Then from this point, the buyers will come back and take the price up. So when you start buying the Euro USD from here, be wary of this trend line. Once this price is able to break above here, cool. Then, I'm expecting the Euro USD to eventually come back to this supply area at this point. So, let me just remove this trend line so I don't confuse you guys. So the major thing for us now for the Euro USD is we'll be looking to sell the Euro USD and also to buy the Euro USD. And I'm not sure this buying will happen in the coming week, but whichever way, if the market gives us a clean sales entry at this point, I want to see the sellers come back down and the buyers push them back up. Then the sellers come down. It is when the sellers come down, it is when the buyers get here and they get weak and the sellers come. I want to join the sellers here, take the price to this support area. For me, I will exit my position because I expect the buyers to come in from this point. Then I will join the buyers. I'll take this price. I'll write this price back to this supply area. But if you are buying the Euro USD, be careful with this resistance trend line. It means that when the market gets to this trend line, maybe by then we'll be having a support here that might hold the market. The market gets to this place, you might need to exit your first position, or if you don't want to exit, watch the market closely. If you see that the sellers get weak and the buyers come in, you may exit. When the market gets to this point, I'll be observing the market closely. If the sellers are not strong, and the buyers are still strong, I'll continue to ride my buy position up here. So guys, having said that, let's do a recap. This is the end of my analysis, for the BTC and Euro USD. Let's just do, a brief recap. So for the BTC USD, wait for price to rise to resistance area at 75,257. Anywhere in between these points, the buyers come in, they get weak, and the sellers come in, you join the sellers. Stop loss can be here at 75,913. Then the TP, you can ride the price, down here, but I think eventually it's coming to this 100%, retracement. But if you can't hold anywhere in between this area, at 79,000 or maybe 70,000, 69,000, maybe 70,000, at this point, I think this point is this area is a good support area. This area will be a good support area. You can take your TP at this area. I think this will be around 70,000. Yes, a good point. TP can be at 70,000. Therefore, the Euro USD, when the market rise back to this area, inside this zone, the market rise to this, the buyers take this price back to this resistance area, and the sellers coming from here, you join them, take the price down to the support. At this support area, when the buyers come in, you join them, and take the price back up. So for the Euro USD, we'll be waiting, anywhere in this zone, 1.16901 to 1.17103. The sellers come in, you join them. Stop loss can be above here at 1.17153. TP here at 1.15756. So for your buy entry, wait for price to come down to 1.15756. Stop loss can be below here at 1.15239. Then your TP, take out your TP1 at this point. Then your TP2, this supply 1.20818. So guys, thank you for staying to this end. I know this video has been lengthy. Just for 2 pairs we've been analyzing for like 40 minutes. So but it's all good. So guys, trade carefully, preserve your capital. The forex market is a very dangerous game. This is one of the hardest way to make easy money. Don't just come into the market and think you can start making money today, tomorrow. This game takes time. It needs a lot of patience, a lot of hard work. I know some of us think you can just come and do this without, you see all those people on the beach and in their Lambo and in their mansion, showing you profit on the screen. Please, all those things are just fake life. Anybody see doing that is just looking for a way to deceive you. The real traders, you don't see them on social media displaying Lamborghinis and then duplex and staying in the beach and then doing all that. So guys, be careful out there. There are wolves in sheep's clothing out there. Don't fall, for any online Google. Guys, just be careful. Love you all. Until I see you next week. God bless you.